as it kicks off, let's discuss it then. Joining us now on the programme is David Webber, Senior Lecturer in Sport, Business and Politics at University Campus of Football Business. Thanks very much for being with us on the programme today. I mean, just looking at the title of your job, where you come from, it's one of the main criticisms, if you like, of the sport, isn't it? University Campus of Football Business. That link between the two, they're so intertwined, aren't they?
Absolutely. They're inextricably linked. And I think you made a really great point at the start of this piece, is in that there is a danger that when we focus so much on the politics, when we focus so much on the business, we kind of lose the soul, the spirit of football itself. I mean, the supporter there from Panama should be really celebrating this tournament, but it's being played out against a backdrop of intense political turmoil, where you've got the host nation in direct conflict with one of the participants. So when we talk about sport, politics, business, they absolutely are. They're inextricably linked.
And we've also got other criticism, and the increase in teams. In a way, it's great because it brings other countries that haven't been able to experience a World Cup before. But it's all to do with business and making money, isn't it? This idea as well that we're going to get the halftime show as well, part of that process, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, on the one hand, it kind of speaks to a wider drive towards almost like a democratization of the global game. So for decades, African nations, nations from Central America, from Asia, were hugely underrepresented at World Cup tournaments. That's completely flipped, or almost completely flipped. European and South American nations still will dominate, but it's fantastic that we've got countries like Curacao, like Haiti, like Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, and so forth. They are going to be participating at this tournament, but at what cost? And I think there's a real sense there that, you know, amongst all this huge increase in the games that will be played, many simply won't be able to afford to attend. So it raises the question: well, who is this World Cup really for?
There's another big cost, isn't there? We talked about it at the end of that report. That's the environmental one. Of course, more teams
Absolutely.
means more countries travelling, and it's happening in 3 countries as well.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's going to be virtually impossible for any set of fans, let alone the playing squads, the delegations, to travel by anything other than by air. You're going to have these delegations, these journalists, of course, media reporters, broadcasters, and so forth. They're going to be crisscrossing North America, North and Central America, and that's going to. And scientific studies are showing this, right? That this is going to be the most polluting World Cup ever. This is 4 years on from Gianni Infantino telling us that the World Cup's going to be greener now. FIFA's got a clear commitment to climate change. It wants to tackle climate change, and football needs to be at the forefront of this. But we're seeing now in 2026 that the World Cup is going to be the most polluting, and that's even before we get onto the sponsors, many of whom fossil fuels, that are essentially driving and financing this World Cup as well. So there's a huge green question to be asked around this World Cup again. So we're seeing, people aren't being prioritised, and the planet isn't being prioritised either.
Geopolitical problems as well. I mean, it's the first time, isn't it, that a host nation has welcomed another nation. It is currently, I mean, in theory, there's a ceasefire, but we've just been talking about it in the news. Iran and the US trading missiles with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was kind of reflecting on this the other day, and I'm thinking, we've obviously had nations who've appeared at World Cups, in conflict with other nations who've not been at the World Cup. But we've got this extraordinary set of circumstances where a host nation, which has under FIFA statutes a responsibility to look after a delegation from a country that it is at war with. And the wider geopolitics of this, we can kind of look at the US and Iran, but we've seen one of the Iraqi players detained for several hours before being allowed into the country. One of FIFA's own referees, the top referee in Africa, being denied entry into the United States because of his Somalian passport. This is a World Cup very much in Donald Trump's image. And it feels very much as if FIFA itself has almost lost control of it. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out, because we can't, it's impossible to focus upon the football because we know the wider geopolitical context that's being played out across Iran, across large parts of the world as well, where the US has kind of interests and military interests and diplomatic interests and so forth.
Might be impossible to focus on it completely, but let's try and focus a little bit on the football as well. I mean, David, despite everything you said there, I assume as a fan you're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, World Cups, I think for anybody who follows football, or even those who perhaps don't follow football season by season, football's World Cups are almost milestones in our own fandom. I'm kind of looking up at my shelves here. I've still got my Italia 90 sticker book up there. I've got the book that me and my dad completed back in Mexico '86, almost coming full circle here, 40 years on. They are important milestones, so sociologically, they kind of narrate our own lives. I do my job because I love football. I don't particularly like what football is often implicated in, but I always would maintain that football can be a huge positive driver for social change. And you can see, the scenes of celebration that we see in there. That's what the World Cup is all about. We want to see fans from all over the world descending on a tournament, in hope, if not necessarily with optimism, that they could go far, that this could be their tournament, that they could end up lifting the greatest prize in world sport.
So who are you betting on then?
I'm not a betting man, but I think, because I always get my predictions wrong, so I don't want to jinx anybody, and I certainly perhaps wouldn't want to jinx our French audience. I think France, obviously off the back of PSG's stunning Champions League performances over the last couple of years, I think France have got to be a contender. I think Spain as well. Might it be Portugal's year? I mean, there's a lot of optimism around England. I realise I'm kind of hedging my bets here, but I think that probably those 4 or 5 countries, it's very difficult to see past those. The conditions might come into it as well. So, Brazil are not the Brazil of old, but they always do very, very well at competitions that are held in the Americas. So the conditions might play in their favour. Reigning champions Argentina, of course, I don't think you can rule those out. It's a squad that largely is 4 years older than it was when it won the tournament. So, yeah, if you wanted me to stick my neck out, I'm going to probably go with France.
OK, we shall hold you to it. Perhaps we'll get you on again in 5.5 weeks' time and see. David, thank you ever so much. David Webber, Senior Lecturer in Sports Business and Politics at University Campus of Football Business. Thanks very much for being with us on the programme.